Greetings and welcome to the lovely little seaside town of Littlehampton. Come and drive with me as we, is that lady, I think that lady's getting a bit funny that I'm parked in her driveway. I was just delivering to the house there, love. I'm on my way, don't worry. Come and drive with me as I drive back to Brighton. Okay, greetings, come and join me as we drive back to Brighton from Littlehampton. Now, as always with my drive me videos, it will be a long video. I'll timestamp all the different topics that I get to down below so you can skip to any topic that you want to go and view. But yeah, I've just delivered in Littlehampton. I'm going to drive back to Brighton. Now, it's another one of those safe Tory seats on the south coast, Littlehampton. The constituency is Littlehampton and Bognor Regis. Now, it's a strange one because it's one of those towns that's got quite a few poor areas in Bognor Regis and Littlehampton, but it stays Tory. Always for I don't know. I mean, just at least going back to '97, it's been Tory, and before that as well, because you've got your old retirees, and they're the ones that are voting. The poorer slice of society are just not voting. They got the numbers. If they went out and voted, I'm sure they'd be able to get a Labour candidate put in this constituency. But it's just the old house-owning retirees that are voting in these constituencies. It's such a shame. It really is a shame because, like I say, the numbers are there, and you know, I understand why people are disillusioned with voting. You know, I do get that mentality. You know, nothing ever changes. What's the point? They're all the same. You know, I get it why people get settled in that mentality. But come on, you got to at least just for the least worst option. You got to make the effort. You got to, and that's, I guess, another thing. It's making the effort, isn't it? You know, you're making the effort to go and vote. If we could make it easier for people, I mean, you know, you can talk about electronic voting and online voting and stuff like that, which would make a massive difference to this. Obviously, the Tories don't want these people voting, so they're never going to put something like that through. But I think it's got to happen at some point, isn't it? In a modern society, you know, there's still this same old system where we walk down on a rainy Thursday to put pen to paper and count it physically with human beings. I mean, it's shown other countries that have done electronic and online voting. You know, the studies have shown it's far more efficient at counting the vote, much more efficient. Oh God, this is famous Littlehampton Amarine traffic round here that I'm going to have to get involved with now. This guy's not going to let me in, is it? No, of course you're not going to let me in. But yeah, it's got to happen, isn't it? It's got to happen at some point. Electronic voting, and I think that'll make a massive deal. Can you imagine a general election with online voting where people can vote from their homes? My God, the turnout would be huge, wouldn't it? Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Well, I wasn't planning on talking about online voting, but it just happened. Let me do the window down a bit so it stops getting so steamy in here. But yeah, first topic, I mean, it's got to be Rishi Sunak, hasn't it? And his first appearance in Prime Minister's Questions. We've got to talk about that. It went pretty much as I imagined. I did like the fact that straight away, I mean, I knew it would happen, but Starmer... Ambulance, come on, people. I'm trying to make a video of it. Noisy ambulance. Look at the state of this bloody traffic around here. It's always the same when I come around here. But yeah, I enjoyed the fact that straight away Starmer brought up the fact of our first British Asian Prime Minister, and this is what I want to talk about straight away because it's such a shame, I think, that this has kind of been overshadowed by the just absolute insanity of the Conservative Party right now. Everything's, you know, with Liz Truss and another one coming in, and it's kind of been overshadowed, this momentous occasion where I was about to say voted in, but of course we haven't voted in. But we've got a British Asian Prime Minister, which is an incredible thing. And it's such a shame that, you know, this should be like our Obama moment right now in this country. You know, Asian, Indian population in this country should be out in the streets and having street parties and partying, and, you know, it should be a massive big deal. But of course, what I know and what you know is that the policies that this particular British Asian Prime Minister is going to introduce over the next 2 years is probably going to be severely damaging to those ethnic minorities. So maybe they don't feel like celebrating. But it's such a shame, isn't it? It's such a shame. And I guess really it's worth talking. It's definitely worth a conversation. I've heard people talking about this before. Why is it that it's always the Conservative Party that are the first for these things? First female Prime Minister. Free female yes, Liz Truss does count. She does count. She was maybe in the job for 40 days, but she was still another female Prime Minister. But yeah, 3 Conservative female Prime Ministers, and now the first British Asian Prime Minister. Why? Why are the Conservatives the one to do this? I know I've got my theories to this, but I'd love to hear your opinion. Please drop your opinion down in the comments below, because I really want to know what you guys think. Why? Why is it the Conservatives that are doing these progressive, being progressive in the people that they bring to high positions in their party? The same with Priti Patel and Suella Braverman and stuff like this. It's why? And my theory is it's that I think they're quite happy to have these people in prime position as long as they think like them. I think it's kind of that the like working class side of the Tory party will have that mentality of I don't care if Priti Patel's brown as long as she thinks like me. I don't mind Suella Braverman's brown as long as she's happy to send migrants to Rwanda. I think it's got to be that they're fine with it. They're fine with having a brown person there, but just as long as they think like them. And I guess like the other side of it, the Utonian side of it, they're happy to have a woman in charge. I mean, Jesus, they absolutely adore Margaret Thatcher, don't they? They absolutely adore the woman. But she needs to be like Nanny. Okay, she needs to be stern and strong. They can't have someone that's loving, that cares about people in charge. Like what you'd see in the other side on Labour, where you've got people like Angela Rayner, for instance, that obviously really cares about people. They want someone like Nanny. That's my theory. I don't know. I'd love to hear what your theory is. But that's all I can come up with, because it just doesn't seem to happen the same on Labour. And I think people generally in this country, you can see with the amount of Tory governments that we've put forward, we tend to be centre-right overall in this country. And I think that's the mentality when it comes to women or a British Asian in charge. They're happy for them to be there, but they have to think like them. They can't have a caring woman in charge of the country. I don't think a lot of people in this country get on with that. Please give me your thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But anyway, back to Prime Minister's questions, and yeah, it went pretty much as I thought it would. Sunak seems to be basically just taking the Boris Johnson playbook on this, doesn't it? I mean, he just sounds identical to the man. Every time Starmer throws a question at him, he just answers something completely different. I mean, Starmer brought up the sacking of Suella Braverman, and then reinstating her straight afterwards. I don't know how you get round that issue where last week you're sacking someone for being Home Secretary and sending emails from a private account going against all protocols, security protocols, and then next week you reinstate her. There's no justification for it, isn't it? So Starmer asks him about that. He deflects with, well, something about police numbers or something. It's just exactly out of the Boris Johnson playbook. Starmer asks a question, he answers something completely different. What was it? He mentioned about non-dom status, and he, of course, mentioned his green card and stuff like that, and he answered with Starmer giving support to Jeremy Corbyn. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up, can you? And then he also brought up the famous video of Rishi Sunak, which I think should be played absolutely everywhere and anywhere, of him discussing how he took funds away from deprived areas, like your Littlehampton back there, and putting them in more wealthy areas.
From all of you, I managed to start changing the funding formulas to make sure that areas like this are getting the funding that they deserve. because we inherited a bunch of formulas from the Labour Party that shoved all the funding into deprived urban areas. Then that needed to be undone. I started the work of undoing that.
Again, it's something that you just, what do you do with that? You can't deny it. And then I think his answer was to say, well, Keir Starmer, you never leave London, so you won't know what areas are deprived. Really? Really? It's Boris Johnson. I mean, he knows from sitting next to him in the House of Commons for so long, he knows what the score is, and he's just mirror image of Boris Johnson. So I think that's what we're going to get for the next 2 years. This windscreen is pretty filthy, isn't it? I'm going to have to do something about that, I think. Sorry, I should have cleaned that before I started. Terrible. There we go, that's better. But yeah, other than that, it was good to see my MP for Brighton, Caroline Lucas, popping up with the question about fracking though. And he has said that they're not going to put fracking back on the agenda.
Caroline Lucas.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister's reckless predecessor took a wrecking ball to nature, prompting millions of members of the RSPB, the National Trust and the Wildlife Trust to rise up in opposition. Yesterday, he promised to fix her mistakes as well as to uphold the party's 2019 manifesto. So if he is a man of his word, will he start by reversing the green light she gave to fracking, since it's categorically not been shown to be safe, and instead maintain the moratorium that was pledged in that very manifesto that he has promised to uphold?
Well, I've already said I stand by the manifesto on that. But what I would say is that I'm proud that this government has passed the landmark Environment Act, putting more protection for the natural environment than we've ever had, with a clear plan to deliver. And I can give the Honourable Lady my commitment that we will deliver on all those ambitions. We will deliver on what we said at COP, because we care deeply about passing our children an environment in better state than we found it ourselves.
So Caroline Lucas was very happy about that, and this is exactly why we need people like Caroline Lucas in Parliament. Now, she's the MP for Brighton, and I voted for her in 2015 because I lived in central Brighton, but she's not my MP anymore. I live in East Brighton, which is much more a swing constituency. It's been Labour Conservative, swung back and forth. It's Labour at the moment because of Brighton, obviously. But yeah, I voted for Caroline Lucas in 2015 when I lived in the constituency, and I would keep voting for her again if I was still living there, because it's just so important. I know the Greens have only got one MP, but it's so important to have her in the House of Commons bringing up issues like fracking, because it can get overshadowed, this stuff, with everything that's going on with this insane bloody Conservative Party that we have. These issues need to be addressed, and she's the one bringing them to the forefront. And I'm so happy that Caroline Lucas is in Parliament. And it could kind of feel at the time that in 2015, when I badly wanted Ed Miliband to beat David Cameron, the famous Twitter quote from David Cameron. I love bringing that up as many times as I can. If I can find it, I'll put it down below. The famous quote: the choice in 2015, the choice between chaos with Ed Miliband or stability with the Conservatives. Oh God, you can't. It's incredible. I absolutely love that. I love that tweet. And anyway, but yeah, during that election in 2015, it was easy for me at the time to think, oh God, am I wasting my vote voting for Caroline Lucas in the Green Party? I want Labour to win. Maybe I should be voting for Labour. But I mean, obviously, we knew that Caroline was going to win. She was already an MP at that point. She got voted in 2010. So Brighton is a safe seat for the Greens, and taking any seat away from the Conservatives is obviously a good thing. But moments like that, you realise that no, it does matter. Your vote does matter. If you're in Central Brighton constituency and you vote for Caroline Lucas and the Green Party, don't think you're wasting your vote, because it's so important that we've got people like her in Parliament. I just wanted to mention that. But I want to I want to go back slightly to the conversation about Rishi Sunak and being the first British Asian Prime Minister. I don't know if any of you guys saw on LBC there was an interesting interview. Oh God, I can't remember the presenter's name. Sangita, is it? I can't remember her surname. But she took a call from someone that was trying to obviously suggest that Rishi Sunak is not British. And this question's an interesting one. Again, I'd love to get your opinions on this, because it crops up now and again in different areas. Like last year when Emma Raducanu won the US Open for tennis, and you know, she's an interesting girl because she was born in Canada. Apologies if I get this wrong, but I think her mother is Chinese and her father is Romanian, but she came over to this country, to London, when she was 3 years old, so basically a baby. So all she's ever known is living in Britain. All she's ever had is British friends, from a British education, surrounded by British culture, and she becomes a great tennis player, and it's time to choose who she represents. And she's got like 4 options there. She's got Canada, she's got Romania, she's got China, or Great Britain. And she chose Great Britain because, of course, she's grown up in this country. She has been surrounded by British culture. She's gone to British school, she has British friends, she has a British accent. I'm sure she watched EastEnders and drinks tea and eats fish and chips. So she classes herself as British, which completely makes sense to me. But there was this call, anyway, going back to what I was saying. I do go off topic of these videos sometimes. Going back to what I was saying, there was a call on LBC which was really fascinating to hear the other side of the argument that I just put forward from someone. I found it fascinating. I'll throw in a few clips here.
Let me just say first, I am a Tory party member, and my dad was a constituency chairman. And we support Boris, and I'd say, in my estimate, 80% of the members support Boris. So that's where we're at. And our perspective is different to, you know, the media perspective, the markets. Both my daughters work in the city. There's a lot of AI algorithms coming from abroad, tampering with the markets. Now, we can't let the markets and the media run our country. It's a democracy. We are the voters, and we support Boris. So we want Boris back, and Boris has the best chance of winning the general election next time. So Rishi's not going to win it. Rishi's not even British, in most people's opinion. He's not. He's got American allegiance. His family's American. They're Indian business people. He'll go and live in America, no doubt. He doesn't love England like Boris does.
Okay. Jerry, to my knowledge, Rishi Sunak was born in the UK. He went to Winchester School, which, as you know, is a long-established public school in this country. As I understand it, he was born at Southampton General Hospital.
Well, can I just say, one of my mates, I was in the military, one of my mates was born in Uganda. He's white as the driven snow, and he's English as English can be. He's not African, is he? Because he's born in Uganda. That doesn't mean anything.
He himself is a British citizen, isn't he?
Okay, lots of people are. Half of Al-Qaeda are British citizens. You don't understand how
I'm so sorry.
feel,
Can I just be very clear here? Because I just want to be clear that I've actually heard you correctly. Have you just likened Rishi Sunak, the former Chancellor, and possibly the next Prime Minister, to a member of Al-Qaeda?
Shemaine, I'm just saying, having a British passport doesn't mean you're a true English patriot who loves England. Boris loves England, and Rishi Sunak will be decimated if he leads the Tories into the election. I'm just telling you what Tory voters believe. He will be decimated. He didn't even get barely 40% of Tory members, let alone the electorate.
Did you see the full interview? I just chucked a few clips in there, but I just found it fascinating. It's exactly along the same lines as what I was saying with Emma Raducanu. Rishi Sunak was born in this country. He grew up in this country. He was educated in this country. His friends are in this country. He's surrounded by British culture. He's British, right? And there's this weird argument, and I've seen it scaled around quite a few different places where people just think you have to be white, Caucasian, European to be British. And the argument, like you just heard there, they throw out these arguments. I've seen it all the time. Oh well, if you went to live in Uganda, you know, would you be African? And I guess it's what you call a straw man argument, isn't it? It doesn't make sense, because Britain is a multicultural country. Uganda it isn't. Another one they like to use is Japan. Oh, okay, so if I go and if I'm born in Japan, am I Japanese? It doesn't equate, because Japan is not a multicultural society. Uganda is not a multicultural society. This country has hundreds of years of emigration and different ethnicities. This is the difference, and people, white British men in this country, cannot seem to grasp the fact that you can be black and British, or Asian and British. If you were born here, if you were culturally raised in this country, you are British. Other examples, say if you're a black man that has been taken in and adopted, and you don't know who your parents are, and you're adopted by white English parents, and you've grown up in this country all your life, what are you not British to this man on the LBC call? What are you then? If you don't even know who your parents are, how can you even say where you're from? It's really, really, really strange. And people fight this cause passionately. They really, really do. You have to be white to be British. It's nonsense. Now, if Rishi Sunak was trying to claim that he's white Anglo-Saxon or something, I'd understand your point. I get what you're talking about. But he's British. My son is British, okay? My son is mixed race, okay? So, I mean, what is he not British? He was born in this country, educated in this country, all his friends are from this country. I'm British myself, but does he not get that tag because his mother was not? Who holds a British passport? in any case, yeah, I just find it nuts. I find it nuts, and it really does just show the odd beliefs of people in this country. God, it's quite a hot day today. I'm really sweating, and I'm gonna have to open the window. But I'm starting to get a little bit put off by driving Littlehampton, Ammering, Worthing, because the traffic just seems to be utterly insane. I don't think I want to come back here for a while. I really don't. Other things I want to talk about. I want to talk about my recent video that I say recent, I think it was yesterday that I put it out. I agree with Nigel Farage. Yeah, what were your opinions on that video? Because I got some interesting comments on that one. I really did. A lot of people quite upset with me for doing a video. I'm going to call out to David, who was messaging me. If you're listening, David, I'm going to put this message down below. Now, I read that and took it as a blunt statement. But as I further chatted with David, he's saying he was being sarcastic. But I had to say to you, David, sarcasm is very, very hard to portray in text form, and if you're going to put a blunt statement out like that, I'm going to read it as a blunt statement. If you want me to read it as you being sarcastic, put a little laughing emoji there, or put joke in brackets, and it would be very funny. I'd find it very amusing if you'd done that. But if you put it like that, I'm just going to read it as a blunt statement. And especially because I had lots of comments previously that were along those lines. A lot of people upset with me for agreeing with Nigel Farage. It's one of those weird things. Like, you know, I categorically said in the video that 90% of what the guy believes in, probably 99% of what the guy believes in, I don't agree with. But on this issue, I agree. Same as David Cameron when he brought in gay marriage. Majority of what David Cameron believes in, I don't agree with. But David Cameron in particular is pro-EU and pro-gay marriage. So those things I agree with him on. But some people find this hard to understand. They think that I shouldn't be putting Nigel Farage on a video. They think that I shouldn't be representing him in a good light. It's strange. What do you guys think? I think it's a beautiful thing when you can actually show someone like Farage where you agree. Now, I'm not going to try and dissemble his motives. I know his motives for being pro-proportional representation. We all know what his motives are, because he still has aspirations to govern, and the PR system is the only way he's going to get there. And you know, I don't agree with his party politics, and if he gets in there, but he has that right. And I think under a proportional representation system, we wouldn't have got Brexit back in 2015, because what happened is he couldn't get in because of first past the post, so he invaded the Conservative Party by threatening them, by getting people to, threatening them with losing votes. In a proportional representation system, he said he got 6 million votes, right? Was it 4 million? 4 million. But then I always like to take into consideration that more people under a pre-R system would vote for UKIP. Same with the Greens. Like there's a lot of people that would love to vote Green, but they feel it's a wasted vote under first past the post. So if the Greens get 2 million votes in an election, if it was a PR election, I think you could double that. So 4 million he got in 2015. So under a PR vote, let's say that he gets 8 million. So it's a little around 10%, isn't it, of the country? So how much power would he have? And you need to be careful with what PR system that you get. Actually, those stats, I'm sorry, I'm going to correct myself there, because those stats are completely wrong. Completely wrong. Because if he gets 8 million votes, that is not 10% of the population. I'm thinking of the population of the whole as a UK, but obviously babies and children are not going out to vote, and even a hell of a lot of adults. So I guess that's probably quite a large chunk, maybe 20%. I mean, it's a guess. I'm not going to try and be too accurate with that. But there's no way he's going to be the majority party. No way. No way. No way. And that's what I think is important to write into any PR system that comes about, is the majority party has to be the one in control. Because I've heard different, I think it was in Ireland they tried it or something, and there was the party that got the biggest vote share, and then two parties combined that got more than them actually took power. I think you have to include that is what we have right now anyway, right? If you go back to 2010 with the coalition, the Conservative and Lib Dem coalition, you have to have the Conservatives at the top of that, because I think Labour and Lib Dem would have had a majority over Conservatives. I may be wrong with that. Maybe they didn't have the numbers actually. But I think even in first past the post, the party that has the majority has to be the one that governs. You can't have two parties gang up with extra votes. I may be wrong with that. I may be wrong. But I'm going off topic a little bit. But what are your thoughts with agreeing with someone on a fringe of society? Because you know my views on Farage. I have my views for the past year on this channel about Farage. I can't stand the man. I can't stand what he's done to this country. I hate his views about immigrants, and I hate his is pushing his anti-environment agenda. Pretty much everything the man does I despise. He's the worst person to have for this country, for the planet, for everything. I despise him. But I agree with him on PR. I agree with him on legalising drugs, and I agree with him that he should have his right to have a political party and have a voice in Parliament if there's people that want to go that direction. But I've had a big thing recently about trying to listen to people on the other side of the debate, and I think it is a problem more so on the left of politics, where people will just disregard the other person on the other side, and it's not healthy. It doesn't help anything. You have to listen to people. You have to. And I don't know. Worthing, beautiful, sunny, lovely Worthing. Now, talking of constituencies, let's let this guy through. Go on, you can go. I'm feeling generous. Talking of constituencies, we're just crossing over one now. So West Worthing, right next to Littlehampton, is the very, 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 very pro-conservative and has been conservative. It's that bloody Salord, toff boy, bottomly, twat face MP that's been there for like the last 60 years in West Worthing. But cross over to East Worthing and Shoreham, and there's a bit more of a contest here, and I think it'll be interesting. I'm going to have to persuade my... I think I'm going to... well, I don't know. Let's have a look. I can't remember. I'll put the constituency last election results up. But I think the Lib Dems done better than Labour in this constituency. If I'm wrong, then I'm completely wrong and disregard what I'm saying. So I might have to persuade my Labour member mum, who lives here, to vote Lib Dem in the next election. She won't like that. And if any of her Labour friends are listening, I'm sure she'll go against the crux. I don't know. I might be wrong actually. Maybe Labour. No, I think I am wrong actually. I think Labour probably done better than Lib Dems in this constituency. It will be on the screen. You'll find out. You'll find out. But yeah, lovely Worthing. So to finish off, we ain't going to make it all the way to Brighton today because I haven't got nothing to talk about. But one more thing I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to say thanks to everyone that contributed to the last Drive With Me video that I done, where I had Mrs. Van Man asking me your questions. Let me know if that's something you enjoyed, because I'll do it again if it was. And I know some of you, because I can only really post that I'm going to do something like that on my community page on YouTube, which only shows up on your phone, and Instagram. And I know a lot of you viewers don't watch my YouTube videos on their phone, or they don't have Instagram, so miss the opportunity to ask me questions. So maybe next time I might sort of mention it in my video previous or something like that. But yeah, did you enjoy? Is it something you enjoy? If it was, I'll do it again. I enjoyed it. It was nice hearing Mrs. Van Man's views on the NHS and stuff like that. It was always good input. But yeah, a few things come out of that, and a few questions that maybe I might want to elaborate on. One was that I got a couple of questions about if I'm still enjoying doing the videos, which I certainly am, because I know during September I had a month break. I went on holiday, and when I come back, after a month, I was kind of enjoying having a politics-free life. And as what a lot of us do when we go on holiday. When you go on holiday, you come back with all aspirations of what you're going to do, and you're not going to have your head in politics so much, but then you come back and Jesus Christ, what we've had over the last 3 weeks, how can you not have your head in politics? But I just want to make it clear that I'm still really enjoying doing the videos. I wouldn't be doing them if I didn't. I'm not financially motivated to do this YouTube channel. I don't get enough views for that. It's all about enjoyment and speaking to you guys and just making videos, and I still enjoy. But I found a really nice politics-life balance recently, and it's doing me the world of good, because my complaint when I come back, it was that I love doing the YouTube channel, I love making videos, and when I get a topic that I want to talk about, I'm passionate and I'm excited to do a video. And obviously talking to you guys in the comment section, I've learned so much from you, and it's an amazing thing. So I don't want to give that up. But my problem is because I'm constantly thinking of video ideas and what topic to talk about next. I constantly have to have my head in politics 24/7, and that was the part of it that I didn't enjoy so much. But I've found a really good balance now. I think I'm basically just dedicating a certain amount of time to politics during the day. I'm a massive advocate for exercise and fitness, for mental health. you know, it's done me the absolute world of good. At the start of the pandemic, I didn't exercise at all when I started doing things like running, and now it's incredible. Obviously, exercise and fitness is great for your body, but I just didn't know. That's what I always thought about exercise. I just thought that, you know, yeah, well, obviously it's really good for your body and stuff, but for your mind as well. It just clears your mind of everything. And I've started running. I do a spin class every Tuesday on the bike, which I absolutely adore. I'll put a photo up. I love metal music. Music is aside from politics, is what I love and adore. And music, live music, is like a church for me. It's where I go and I pray with like-minded people, and it clears my head. But every Tuesday I do a heavy metal spin class, and it's fantastic. And I've recently taken up swimming as well. I'm going back swimming in the mornings. And swimming is the best thing to clear your head. If you want to clear your head from politics, even more than running, even more than anything else, go swimming. Because if you're just concentrating on every stroke and breathing, because you have to concentrate on breathing when you're swimming, I think it's the best form of exercise to clear your head, because your head's in the water. I'm going to take this opportunity while we're stopped in traffic to demonstrate. All you're concentrating on is breathing and swimming. You're one stroke, counting 1, 2, 3, breathe, 1, 2, 3, breathe, 1, 2, 3, breathe. And it's like meditation, isn't it? That's what meditation is about. When people meditate, they just let's get steam in here again. They just like empty their head, don't they, and just concentrate on breathing in, out. That's how you meditate. Empty your brain. As soon as something pops into your brain, you reset and empty it out again. I can do that with swimming. It's an incredible thing. Going off topics. But basically, I'm just trying to do a level playing field in life on my days with politics. So I wake up in the morning, I go for a swim most mornings, and I get my political news in the morning. I'll rattle through the normal YouTube videos that I'll get my news from. I'll think about what I may want to talk about that day in the van, and then when I get home, I'll edit the video, and then that's me done. And then no politics. I'm keeping my evenings clear of politics, where I can sit down in the evening, have dinner, chat with Mrs. Van Man, which I mentioned in the last video is what I really enjoy, because a lot of people asked in the comment section whether Mrs. Van Man is into politics. She has her views and she has her opinions, and when it comes to voting day, she knows what she wants to vote for, but she's not into the ins and outs of day-to-day politics and Prime Minister's questions and who's in the cabinet here and who's Home Secretary. She's not into that, and this is what I absolutely love. I love that, because like I just say, I can now separate, you know, in the morning I'll get my news, get my political news, talk about it in the van during the day, and then in the evening I can come back to Mrs. Van Man. We don't talk about politics, we talk about other things. We have dinner and we chill out and we watch something, and then we go to bed, and my head is clear. So yeah, I found a really good balance, a really, really good balance that I'm happy with not letting the politics just absorb my brain 24/7, because you just can't do that. You really can't. It's just too much. It's just way too much. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm really getting back into the fold of doing videos since I got back, and I'm doing even more for it. And I'm going forward, I think I'm going to have to announce that I am going to start using my Twitter account. Now, it's one thing that I've avoided. I have a Twitter account, but I don't use it because it was kind of poisonous to me before, especially when I have the app on the phone. It's just, like I say, you need distraction. And in the evening, if there's a lull in the programme that I'm watching, I'll pick up Twitter, and then politics invades my life again and again. I need an easy shutdown. So I got rid of Twitter for that reason, but I also realised I need to be sensible, really. And if I'm going to promote my videos and try and see growth, don't want to be a part of the anti-growth Anti-growth establishment. Can't be doing that. We need to grow. And I realised that, you know, Twitter is obviously a useful tool to promote my videos and share my videos and to see growth. Those damn anti-growth coalition crew. So I'm gonna have to start using it, but I'm not gonna have the app on my phone. it will be a part of my morning thing, you know, and when I upload my videos, I'll share on Twitter. But yeah, if you've got Twitter and you haven't followed me, go ahead, because I will be starting to use it. So I will make posts on Twitter. So go ahead and follow me there. I guess that will be all. We're here. We're stuck in traffic again. Now, I know I probably would have avoided the traffic if I'd gone along the A27, but as you know, I have an electric van, and I need to go as much as the crow flies to limit the amount of miles that I drive. So I'm going this way, and I'm stuck in traffic. So yeah. Till next time, thank you for watching. If you watched all the way through, brilliant. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Till next time, see you soon.